Previewing Week 4 in the NFL here at SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak, and right now we are going to take a look at the Monday night game between the Bears and the Cowboys, and I have reassembled the same team that last week gave the under in the Seahawks-Packers game. So, you know, while everyone was spazzing out about that touchdown or interception, anyone who watched our video and tailed it was not sweating anything at all, and that was obviously the right side. And that team is Dave Golokhov of AskMen.com and Scott Kellen from SixCentSports.com. Thanks, guys, for being back.
Thanks, Peter.
All right, so Bears at Cowboys. The Cowboys are a 3-point home favorite. Both these teams are very sort of inconsistent and up and down. I feel like both these teams are teams that have attracted a lot of action and burned a lot of money. In this game, though, I'm thinking that I trust Romo and the Cowboys as a home favorite of a field goal a little bit more than I trust Jay Cutler. The Bears have not been protecting Cutler. Dallas has a very good pass rush, and I'm thinking at this line, I'm actually thinking that Dallas might be a pretty good bet here. Let's start with you, Scott Kellen. What do you think? Dallas -3?
Yeah, I would lean that way. I mean, nothing real strong from an opinion standpoint for me in this, but I think Dallas is a better team on paper. Now, you know, it's the question of will they actually show up and play, and that's, you know, as you spoke to just a minute ago, has been probably burning a lot of people because they don't. But I think, you know, they're better defensively, I think, than the Bears. I think they're better offensively. It's just a matter of can they do it. So I would definitely lean that way. I make the number 2.5, but it's close enough. There's nothing that would really help me support Chicago in this game. And I make the number 40, so I'm probably going to lean towards the under here as well. I mean, here's what we know. We know Dallas' defense is actually very good. If you look back, they gave up, I think, 14 points week 1 at the Giants. We know that offense is pretty good. They gave up 27 at Seattle, but 10 of those points came in about 3 minutes off a fumble and a blocked punt. So their defense played pretty good there against a Seattle offense that really isn't that great, but they certainly played well there. And then, of course, shut down Tampa Bay last week, allowed 10 points, and I think 7 of those points came after an interception, a drive of less than 30 yards. So the defense is playing very good, and they should hold down Chicago. Forget about Chicago's week 1 game against Indianapolis. That's a bad defense. Chicago did nothing against the Packers in week 2, and really, quite frankly, did nothing last week against St. Louis. I think they averaged 3 yards a rush. They scored 23 points. 7 came on a pick return. And St. Louis defense is okay, but it's nothing special. So that offense is in trouble, like you said. I don't see how they're going to move the ball against Dallas on a consistent basis. Now, the Bears defense has actually played pretty well. They really shut down Green Bay for the most part in week 2, and the other two teams they played really aren't that great anyway. And Dallas is certainly struggling. They averaged 1.7 yards a rush against Tampa last week. Did average 6 yards a pass. I just think you have a better chance of getting the effort that you think you can get out of Dallas versus Chicago. And I think Dallas' defense is better, especially with those corners back there. Now, they have lost a couple safeties, but you can replace that for the most part, I think. And I don't think Chicago has enough threats on offense to really, get deep into that secondary to create problems there. So, yeah, I would lean towards Dallas here and also lean towards the under because I can't see both teams getting into 20. And the way Dallas' offense has gone, I can't see them getting to 30 points either unless you get some turnovers. So under the 40-plus points, I think it's a good play, and I would certainly lean towards Dallas as well.
Yeah, I was feeling the same way. Just for the sake of argument, for someone who is leaning towards Dallas and is trying to figure out what's the argument for taking the Bears? If what would the arguments be?
Well, the Bears have a good defense yet, right? I mean, there's certainly no question about that. And they've got a couple, with a Cutler and a Brandon Marshall, you've got some guys in offense that could quick strike. And then, you just got the Cowboys. I mean, last week, they were horrible, right? I mean, they got down there a few times and could not score. So, we could be talking 6 weeks from now that this Dallas offense is just not very good at all, despite all the pieces that they've got in place. So Chicago could certainly shut them down. I mean, they're laying points here, and you got a good Bears defense. And all of a sudden, they create some turnovers on Romo, get some good field position, they're able to score, whatever the case might be. If the Bears can score 17 points in this game and all of a sudden their defense can play well and Dallas' offense continues to do nothing, because again, if you take away week 1 against the Giants, that defense is not that good. So they scored 7 at Seattle. Seattle's very good at home on defense. We know that. And they scored 16 against Tampa Bay last week, which, quite frankly, is kind of a joke. So if the Bears can get a few points here, they could certainly score more points than Dallas just because Dallas' offense has done nothing, and they will be facing a decent defense. But I just don't. I think it's the more likely scenario is Dallas' offense will perform better than Chicago's offense, and same with the defense. But that's why, that in combination with some turnovers, would help Chicago cover, I think.
All right, let's see what Dave Golokhov has to say about this. Dave, I'm thinking of betting Dallas. What do you think?
I do like the Cowboys in this spot. They're a team that seems to perform better when the challenge is tougher for them.
Yeah.
They played well against the Giants. They actually were fairly impressive. I don't think anybody thought they'd go to New York and win without a running game, but they did exactly that, and then followed it up with a stinker. And actually, you could say two stinkers because they didn't play so well against Tampa Bay either. I think this is more of a challenge for them. I think Tony Romo's going to be a little under pressure in this spot. They respect the Bears a little more. They see them as a playoff team. And I think that's the type of game that Dallas gets up for. And, it's not a strong play one way or the other for the side, but I do like the Cowboys a little bit.
All right, yeah, because I was very impressed with what you had to say last week, where you called the under in the Seattle game one of the strongest plays of the year. But you don't think the Cowboys is one of the strongest plays this week or anything, do you?
I really don't like this game for betting purposes on the side. Total maybe a little bit. We can get to that, but look, you got two teams with shoddy offensive lines. I think you can say both teams have above average defenses, but at the same time, you still don't know what you're going to get from either defense. Sometimes they play well, sometimes they don't. You got two quarterbacks that are, Peter, if you told me on Tuesday morning that Cutler had 350 yards and 3 touchdowns, I wouldn't be surprised. If you told me he had 250 yards and 4 picks, I wouldn't be surprised. Same thing with Tony Romo. So I tend to trust the Cowboys a little bit more just because the Bears going on the road, shoddy offensive line, no running game. It's kind of a risky proposition. At the same time, a lot of those things you can say about the Cowboys too, except they're at home. So that's why I don't like the side.
All right, I think we got it. No lock on this Monday